Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Tuesday's edition of the dceu Daily. And Patty Jenkins is going to war with Warner Media, and I think we really know why, as she has verbal diarrhea. She just can't stop talking negatively about the very studio that gave her big chance in 2017 with the first Wonder Woman movie. So I have a string of interviews to read out to you from Patty, first of all, on Tuesday's edition of the dceu Daily. Wonder Woman 1984 director reveals arguments with studio took place over release date. One of the most consistent issues that Warner Brothers has exhibited is their inability to get out of their own way, even when they have properties and characters that appear to be surefire hits. I don't know what you're talking about. The mega studio has especially proven this to be the case in recent years with the DC Extended Universe, a franchise which has garnered mixed reactions despite mostly profitable financial returns. The studio, that doesn't even make sense, right? It's nobody's fault if critics don't like the way films are done. The studio's issues have manifested in recent news stories, including with the major money controversy that Warner Brothers is dealing with in relation to the high-profile celebrities they employ. Along with this is a very public backlash the company has faced after the decision to release their entire slate of movies in 2021. This issue is the real issue why Patty Jenkins has got verbal diarrhea right now. Simultaneously in theatres and on HBO Max, many of these problems may be leading to an untimely departure for one of the DCEU's most acclaimed directors, who shared her feelings on the matter in a recent sit-down. Can I just say something to you? Patty Jenkins is a really good director, but she's not a great director. She's not even in my top 10 list. I don't know any director from the modern movie era who's in my top 10 list. Listen, she can shoot beautiful images in IMAX, but I could go to a film school and bring you 200 young people who could do the same thing. That doesn't make you a great director. Christopher Nolan, for example, he's not in my top 10. A really good director. But he's starting to become a one-trick pony. You've seen one Christopher Nolan film, you've seen them all. In a recent interview with the New York Times, Wonder Woman director Patty Jenkins discussed the long drawn-out process she has had to endure with Warner Brothers. Oh, cry me a fucking river, Patty. With Warner Brothers in terms of the continuous delays to the release of Wonder Woman 1984. Jenkins' main issue is the fact continuous shifting of release dates. Where are we? It jumped. This is a terrible site, by the way. Is the fact that the continuous shift in release dates caused uncertainty in terms of how long she would have to work on the film's post-production. Oh, poor Patty. Anyway, this is what she had to say. I never wanted it to come out in the winter. I was fighting the studio because we were supposed to come out of the summer of 2020. Pandemic. And then they didn't have a big movie for 2019. I was in the middle of making a limited series, and all of a sudden they announced that they had moved up the release date by 7 months, which was going to give me way less time to make the movie than I had for Wonder Woman. Basically, it's her fucking fault that the movie was moved from 2019 to 2020. I was saying, you guys, why would you guarantee I can't make as good of a film by making it too quick? So we argued about that all year, and I had to drop out of doing a whole limited series and only do the first 2 episodes. And just to race and write 80-page treatment at the same time as I'm trying to direct the show. We finally got lucky that it got moved back. It would have been a much worse movie if it had come out then. Basically, make no mistake, it's her fucking fault that it was moved from 2019 to 2020. But she's a hypocrite, right? After it was moved and she quickly got done, you know what she did? She came out and said, oh, I wish it came out when we were originally going to release it now because I'm done now. I really want everyone to see it. Well, make your bloody mind up, love. After the movie was ready to release, the global pandemic caused even more delays from the planned June 2020 release date. Jenkins proceeded to discuss how Warner Brothers seemed to be making decisions for this release on the fly at every turn. Basically, right, I'm going to read, this is another quote from her, right? But I'm going to say to you that she was the one who delayed the movie, then said it shouldn't have been delayed. It's like And why is she calling the studio out? I'm going to tell you now, because there's quite a few interviews to read from her on today's DCEU Daily. She is going to war with the company with several directors who don't like the fact that they're releasing in theatres where open and on HBO Max. And this is to exert pressure on the studio publicly. Do you really want to go to war with the studio that gave you your first opportunity in the big time? It was a fascinating thing because it wasn't like any of those calls were confident. It was a group of us sitting around going, I don't know, I guess we could say 3 months from now. Then we'll see what happens. That was a trip to be talking about a major movie like that with the heads of the studio and the heads of marketing. And everybody's like, I guess let's just say October. Because there was a pandemic, Patty. Nobody knew what to do. I don't think she's being negative here, by the way. Recent reports have detailed how Patty Jenkins is growing unsure on her involvement on Wonder Woman 3, and these quotes could certainly be reason enough for her to turn away from the film. Even considering how nobody was prepared for the effects of the global pandemic, it's clear that Warner Brothers didn't see eye to eye with Jenkins on a few different aspects of her upcoming sequel, including when it should release. Yeah, they wanted 2019, she didn't. Then she said she wished it did come out in the original date. So the delay this year isn't the studio's fault, it's actually Patty Jenkins. The original Wonder Woman turned into a worldwide phenomenon after releasing in the summer of 2017, becoming one of the DCEU's most successful films critically and financially. It seems like an obvious decision that Jenkins would give her much more clout and control over her future franchise plans, considering how well her works was received by fans, but Warner Brothers still approached the sequel with caution. Shall I just tell you something? The influence of Zack Snyder and the studio on the first film was considerable. And that film is better than Wonder Woman 84, even though I love that movie. So, if that's the point, and if that's true, and I'm telling you it is true, why would you give her a free rein to do whatever the fuck she wanted? No director should have 100% freedom. It's ridiculous. I'm investing money in a project and I just should sit there and zip my mouth up. No way. Patty Jenkins is still excited to release Wonder Woman 1984 this week, as shown in her most recent interviews. But there is growing doubt behind the scenes as to whether her DCEU run will continue, with a potential Wonder Woman 3 and a rumoured spin-off hanging in the balance. There's plenty of work to do in terms of Jenkins gaining back the trust of Warner Brothers and DC Films. So basically, right, that's the first part. And I've got a lot to say to you about this. And when we finish up, I will tell you if oh no, Patty might not do Wonder Woman 3. I will tell you what I think about that. So there's more to read, more. Patty Jenkins didn't go to anyone to do this interview. She went with the New York Times, and she did that for a reason. Now, this is the final part of this interview I'm going to read out to you, and this is the real crux of the matter. This interview with the New York Times is a political move. So let's have a look at this. Wonder Woman 1984 director Patty Jenkins has doubts about return for third movie. Oh, we've got a pop-up. How lovely. Anyway, let's get rid of that. I'm not interested in your fucking adverts. Patty Jenkins was notably one of a few to have helped defend against some of the Christopher Nolan's criticism of Warner Brothers and the decision to release all their 2021 theatrical films on HBO Max. Again, they leave out the theatrical releases as well, but never mind. Despite also being one of the few directors to have been compensated before the controversial plan was enacted, Jenkins seems less and less sure about Wonder Woman 3 by the day. Jenkins has mentioned some of her frustrations with Warner Brothers' doubts about parts of Wonder Woman 84. How dare they? And revealing that the studio did indeed ask her to change the ending of the original Wonder Woman, which is awesome, and they were right to change the ending of the original Wonder Woman. As for Wonder Woman 3, Jenkins seems unsure which direction to take it now. Despite loving the current story she's originally had in mind due to how much the world has changed. I said this to you the other day, right? What fucking difference does that make? We're not asking you to make a documentary. We're asking you to make a Wonder Woman movie who's not a real fucking character, right? So why does it flipping matter that the world's changed? But this is Hollywood's mentality. It's run by politicians, the directors, the pundits, everyone. They're just crazy. Patty Jenkins' most recent interview with the New York Times doesn't really help the matter, where she gave a very non-committal answer to whether or not she'll even direct Wonder Woman 3. Patty Jenkins was asked whether she'd still planned on returning to direct Wonder Woman 3 after finishing Rogue Squadron, with Jenkins giving quite an alarming answer. Interview: "You're directing the Star Wars movie Rogue Squadron. Next, after that, do you still plan to direct the third Wonder Woman film?" This is what she had to say. We'll see what happens. I really don't know. I know that I'd love to do the third one if the circumstances were right and there was still a theatrical model possible. I don't know that I would if there wasn't. Breaking news, everyone! Patty Jenkins is going to go and work for McDonald's. Because where are you going to go, Pats? Where are you going to fucking go? Because everyone's focusing on streaming now. Kevin Feige himself said the future is streaming. Where are you going to go, Patty? And I'll give you a prediction right here and now. Everyone of all variety of genders and ethnicities, I'll tell you right now, she's going to go to Disney. If she thinks Warner Brothers are, I don't think you should do this, Disney, 120% worse. She tried to do 4-2 and she had to leave the project. She's obviously someone who likes her own way with everything within a production. She isn't going to see out this movie. We know that. But let her. So where are you going to go, Patty, when everyone's going to focus on streaming? What do I really think Warner Media are going to do? I believe if we can get through this pandemic, and we don't know right now, and audiences embrace the theatrical model again, I think they'll go back to the old system. There's no reason why they shouldn't, because that's what makes money. And I think that the DC Extended Universe and the MCU will continue to make MCU and DCEU projects for straight to streaming. But here is the crux of why she went to the New York Times: to threaten Warner Media publicly. Patty Jenkins is certainly sending mixed messages regarding her involvement with Wonder Woman 3, despite already having mentioned her work on the script with Jeff Johns. This is not to mention how passionate she seemed about the Amazon spin-off, even speaking about the third Wonder Woman movie too in the same interview. Perhaps Patty Jenkins will feel differently once she's finished filming Rogue Squadron, if she finishes filming Rogue Squadron. For Disney, however, Jenkins seems fairly committed to having her movie still released with a theatrical model, which should be more than doable by that time and the pandemic passing. However, that could be a problem if Warner Brothers continues their current release strategy beyond 2021, potentially putting off Jenkins from returning to the studio. Right. What's my reaction to this? First of all, right, I didn't know this, but she was the one who didn't like the 2019 release date. She's the one. It's her fault. It's her fault it was delayed to 2020. And then the piece of work comes out and says, "Oh, we finished the movie. I wish we just released it on the original date." That was your fault, Patty. And you notice what she does when she makes a mistake. She goes public all the time to try and cover up. And she's done a lot of blaming the studio lately. So why has she got this verbal diarrhea? Why is she going to war with this great studio who's got a pandemic to deal with and has made the best decision possible for the people who work for them, for the audiences, right? Giving them an option to watch it at home or go to theatres. They're not disabling the theatre system. The theatre system's been disabled by the pandemic, the global pandemic. But Patty Jenkins and many other directors are so butthurt about this, and they don't realise, they don't care about the pandemic. They don't care if you go to the cinema and catch COVID. So what she's done here, she's publicly gone to the New York Times and said, "I'm not sure about Wonder Woman 3. I wouldn't do it if there was no theatrical model." I sarcastically said just a minute ago she's going to go and work for McDonald's because it's the same everywhere. Disney will announce this next year. Universal have created a temporary streaming service because of the pandemic. There's nowhere for these people to go. A week ago, she was talking about creating a United Artists, with a group of directors creating their own studio. But if there's still a pandemic and it's not safe to go to theatres and people are too afraid to go to theatres, what are you going to do? So this is blackmail. She's saying, give us our way I won't do the movie. Everybody loves me. Everybody loves Gal. If I walk, Gal walks. What you gonna do? So this is my opinion. I've already said to you, she's not even in my top 10 directors of all time. Why would she? She's a good director, but she's done nothing that, she hasn't done anything that anybody else hasn't done, right? And nobody from the modern era, not even Zack Snyder, who I admire a great deal, is in my top 10 directors of all time. Because most of these modern day directors are effects based, are visually based, and they're all very good technically. But I wouldn't say any of the modern day directors know how to actually make a good film with a good story. You take their toys and their technology away from them, they don't have a fucking clue, and that's the brutal truth. So am I worried that Patty Jenkins isn't going to do Wonder Woman 3? No, couldn't give a shit. If she doesn't come back, she doesn't come back. There's thousands of directors who can make an awesome Wonder Woman movie, maybe do an even better job than she's done. She takes Gal, that will be bad, of course it would be. We'll just have to find another Wonder Woman from the multiverse. If you don't want to be part of the DC universe, if you don't want to be part of the DCEU, fuck off. But let me tell you something, and let me tell you something now. Patty Jenkins will be back for her Amazonian spin-off and Wonder Woman 3 because she's bluffing. She's bluffing. It's the most dumbest, fucking stupidest bluff in the world because everybody can see it's a bluff. And I predict to you, she will not complete Rogue Squadron over at Disney. Because if this woman is fighting with a studio that gives you a lot, about 75% of creative freedom, and she's worried because they're coming there and saying, well, we're not sure about this, which is their fucking prerogative, right? They changed the end of the first Wonder Woman film. Critics don't like the CGI heavy battle. I do. I think it's a great way. It's emotional and it's action packed. Chinese audiences are not happy with Wonder Woman 84 because of the lack of action. And we've seen that the Chinese audiences haven't all come out to see Wonder Woman 84. If I hadn't have seen Wonder Woman 84 before the reviews, and I wasn't a DC fan, and I was hearing hopeful, not much action, I wouldn't have gone to see it if I was an average Joe or Jane, right? I wouldn't, because they're the two things that when I hear, oh, it's hopeful, oh, there's not much action. You kind of want a lot of action in a superhero movie, right? I don't think it hurts this movie. I think it's a really good film. I like Patty Jenkins, but what she's doing here puts me off of her as a person. She's literally saying, like a spoiled child, give me what I want, or else. You know what, Patty? If you're that confident about your career, bye-bye, see you later, you won't be missed. Well, if you think my blood was boiling over Patty Jenkins, I think Zack Snyder's trying to boil my blood as well. How Zack Snyder plans to finish his Justice League story after HBO Max release. For years, Zack Snyder has hinted at what his post-Justice League plans. Most of this would involve a more of Ray Porter's Darkseid, who will appear briefly in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Unlike the theatrical cut where he was completely absent, sadly, Snyder is unsure if he'll get another chance to direct the movie in the DCEU and continue the story he had started way back in 2013 with Man of Steel. An expansion of the Snyder cut in the form of a comic was offered to comic book writer Scott Snyder, no relation, but he turned down the offer due to being unable to deal with people confusing us. What? That doesn't mean there still isn't a possibility for Snyder to continue his Justice League story, as Snyder has revealed in a recent stream that he had conversations about that very possibility. Zack Snyder spent most of a whole day on and off a stream with fans via Cinema Blend supporting and promoting the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, talking with streamers and answering their questions. Towards the end of the stream, Snyder was asked about his plans for Justice League after his cut finally releases on HBO Max. I don't think anything is going to happen right away. But, right, that's interesting. So that's not never going to happen, but nothing's going to happen right away. Well, here's the thing. If it's streamed a record-breaking amount of times, then, yeah. But yeah, we may have to wait for news. So that's a good thing. So he doesn't think something will happen right away. That doesn't mean it won't happen. I like that. But Jim Lee and I talked quite a bit. And we talked a lot about maybe doing a book or a comic book down the road just to kind of finish this. We haven't locked anything in. But if it's a thing that would be interesting to the fandom, they can always ask Jim about it. Right, before I carry on. I didn't fucking fight for 2-3 fucking years to get a film released so I can see the conclusion of this man's great story, this great man's great DC Extended Universe story finished in a fucking comic. I love comics, but this was started in live action and it should continue and conclude in live action. This is outrageous. This is outrageous, right? Completing what Zack Snyder had started through a novelization or comic book is a most logical step into getting this story out to fans. No, it isn't fucking logical. Fuck off. Before Warner Brothers announced that the studio would be producing Zack Snyder's Justice League to launch on HBO Max, fans actually suggested that it be made into a comic book if completion of the Snyder Cut wasn't an option. No, if we couldn't see it, we couldn't see it. I don't want to read a comic book. Not about this. Not about this. This is ridiculous. Who is this actually going to satisfy? A bunch of muppets who will do anything that they're told by people with blue ticks, right? Oh my God. A comic book continuation would make the most sense. No, as it would be hard to imagine for Warner Brothers to approve an entirely new Justice League movie directed by Zack Snyder. Why? Why? You're not making sense. This is totally illogical. One that would be the continuation of a cut that only HBO Max subscribers have seen. Oh my God. Oh my God, it's going to be made available to everyone. What are you fucking talking about? Such a plan would eliminate the worry of inflating budgets and Zack Snyder would be able to let his imagination fly. Oh my God, this is just ridiculous. Whether Chief Creative Officer of DC Comics Jim Lee actually moves forward with this proposal is something else for Zack Snyder's fans to get pumped about. Now, not this Zack Snyder fan, by the way. Hopefully they don't end up badgering the poor Jim Lee in their excitement. Oh, shut up. What an absolute wanky journalist and a toss of an article. Let me be absolutely clear yet again. I don't want it concluding in a comic book, right? At the end of the day, obviously he's put this out there to see what people think. This is what I think, Zack. We want the continuation of your saga, your DC Extended Universe saga, on the big screen, on my TV screen over there. I don't want no comic book. And that is the end of it, my friend. Just to be clear, I don't think Gal Gadot would walk away from Wonder Woman if Patty did, but neither of them are going to walk away no matter what this woman says publicly. Anyway, this is a bit more of a positive article from Gal. I love Gal and I love Patty, but these games she's playing, they have to stop because as a DC and a Warner Media fan, I don't want to see this shit being brought out to the public. But she's playing a game. This is a war. This is a war, theatre versus streaming, right? Because, these directors are not really going against what's going on now. They're worried about streaming taking over the theatrical model. And this is what they're trying to fight against. And I understand that. And I understand that studios could be tempted to keep this new model. But there's ways and means. Let's see what happens. Anyway, Gal Gadot explains right time period for Wonder Woman 3 to take place. Fans had wondered what time period Wonder Woman 3 would take place. And when it was announced that Wonder Woman 1984 would be another prequel taking place in the 80s, however, it would seem apparent that the prequel will keep moving forward in time. But there was no telling whether it could be in the 90s or early 2000s or modern day. Recently, Patty Jenkins has said that she has recently been rethinking her original ideas for Wonder Woman 3 and is currently taking a break from focusing on it and saying that I sort of have to wait and see where we are in the world. Basically, she's got to do Cleopatra. She's got to do Rogue Squadron if she gets through that movie in one piece from Disney. So Wonder Woman 3 would be in the back burner anyway. It wouldn't be her priority. Wonder Woman 84 is only just about to be released in the States. In the meantime, Patty Jenkins will be directing her first Star Wars movie for Lucasfilm. Actually, I'm excited about the project. Still, when it comes to the time period of Wonder Woman 3, even Gal Gadot was asked point blank when she thinks it should take place. In a video interview with NTV News, Gal Gadot was asked whether she wanted the Wonder Woman franchise to explore other eras, with Gadot saying that the present is the right call and that the past has been handled. Interviewer: I know Patty has said that potentially if you guys do third one together, she's thinking right now at least that bring Wonder Woman to the present. That being said, is there another era, if you get a chance, that you'd like to see Wonder Woman being? Gadot: I think the present is the right thing. I wouldn't go to the 60s or the 40s with Wonder Woman. I feel like the past has been handled well and now it's time to move on. Yeah, I agree with her there. It seems sure that at this point, despite Patty Jenkins not having a clear idea of what Wonder Woman 3 will be about or actively working on it, that Wonder Woman 3 will likely take place in the present day and not be another prequel like Wonder Woman 1984. It makes sense for the character too, since Wonder Woman 84 will presumably follow Diana finally moving past and accepting Steve Trevor's death. Flashpoint's going to change that. So moving her third movie to the present would be more than appropriate. Patty Jenkins seems unsure that at least right now, if Wonder Woman 3 won't be a huge crossover, including other Justice League members. Wonder Woman 3 will be a huge crossover. That's why it's going to be set in the past. This is one of the reasons Patty's not happy as well with Warner Media, Jim Lee and Walter Hamada, because in the future, you won't be able to do DCEU movies that are self-contained, because we are going into the crossover era as the walls of the multiverse fall down, and that is the direction I want to see them go. You never know if something will come along that will make us feel like that will be in string to the story, but I would never do it for any other reason, and here's the problem. So Patty is becoming a bit of a problem. She's basically going to fight them on everything. Well, listen, you are part of a franchise, Patty, whether your films are self-contained or not, and you will have to do these crossovers, or you'll just have to go away. And I personally won't lose sleep over it. Now, when she was doing the first Wonder Woman, she was very sweet. She was making her movie. She smiled in the right places. But now I think she's getting a bit too big for her boots. However, it will be interesting if Wonder Woman 3 will address whatever may happen in The Flash, with Barry Allen ruining the timeline, just like his television counterpart. Exactly. So listen, Wonder Woman 3 is set in the present day. Gal Gadot's come out and said that because the studio had told her, whatever happens, whatever your director says, we are setting it in the modern era. We are going to have crossovers. This is the new era of the DC Extended Universe from Flashpoint onwards. And personally, I couldn't be more excited. Remember, you can tag me on Twitter at MoviesTVMad and tag me with your artwork, your questions, your topic suggestions. And I'll also give you a shout out while talking about what you want me to talk about, because you is why I do this. So Scott Edwards has done that yet again. At Movies TV Mad, both of my Justice Leagues absolutely love both teams. Right, let's have a look at this. He's got obviously the Arrowverse team and the DC Extended Universe team. So Scott's a big supporter of both, which is great to see. Thank you for this artwork, Scott. So what else has Scott got for us today? At Movies TV Mad, this picture is cool. I love the early seasons of Arrow too, but I love how far the shared universe has progressed. Never thought we do get to see Oliver and Sarah interact with Superman, but we did. And now Clark and Sarah are both on team together. Love it. And here is the artwork again that Scott has sent me. Very nice artwork. You see, the thing is, I think the reason fans stick with the Arrowverse is because it's a shared universe. This is what I keep on telling you. People love the shared element. And this is why Jim Lee and Walter Hamada are going down the multiverse strategy. From Flashpoint onwards, it's shared all the way, baby. And if you don't like it, you're going to have to go, whether you're a creative or a consumer. So that's great, Scott. And I think we got one last thing from Scott. What we got here? Cool artwork of the mainstream and Arrowverse Justice League together. Absolutely love it. Here we go. This is it. Yeah, absolutely fantastic, Scott. Thank you for everything you send into the DCEU Daily. It's very much appreciated. And don't forget, you can do that at Movies TV Mad over on Twitter. I've really been trying to find this Screen Rant article about Jared Leto's Joker taking the box away from Darkseid. What's the box? I've forgotten the bloody name now. You know what I mean. Those black boxes from Justice League. Well, they're not from Justice League. They're from the comics and they're from Zack Snyder's Justice League. Anyway, so I can't find the article anywhere. And I think Zack mentioned it on one of the streams he was on. But basically what happens, mother boxes, that's what they are. Anyway, so literally Jared's Joker, and this is awesome, by the way, I'm excited about this. He steals a mother box, apparently, I think I've got this right, from Darkseid, and he gives it to the Flash. And I think the Flash goes to the future with it, or he helps the Flash to be able to time travel. Anyway, he double crosses Darkseid to help the Justice League. And I just thought you might, if you haven't heard about this, want to know that. I think it's awesome. The more I hear about Zack Snyder's Justice League, the more excited I get. That's why I want a damn live-action sequel to it and not a bloody comic book. And I'm sure you agree with that, or most of you do. Gal Gadot wants a Wonder Woman crossover with Black Adam. Wait, Patty doesn't want crossovers, but Gal does. Oh, I think Gal's already positioning herself with Life Without Patty. Gotta be done. Gal Gadot comments on the possibility of a future crossover between Wonder Woman and DC supervillain Black Adam, played by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. With Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman 84 finally on the brink of release, the actress is looking ahead to a possible crossover between Wonder Woman and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's Black Adam. Gadot first assumed the role of Wonder Woman in 2016 Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and of course starred in 2017's Wonder Woman, as well as 2017's Justice League. Meanwhile, Johnson is set for his DCEU debut as Black Adam, which is currently in pre-production. After multiple delays, Wonder Woman 1984, I tell you what, Screen Rant are terrible. They really are terrible. Half their articles is spent telling you what you already know. It's not good, is it? Will finally be available for streaming this week. The long-awaited premiere was supposed to hit theatres in 2020, but was postponed. Let's see if we can find a bloody quote from Gal here. This is fucking ridiculous. Where is it? There's not even a fucking quote here. Anyway, Gadot recently spoke to MTV News about Wonder Woman 84 and her forthcoming film Red Notice, which also stars Johnson and Ryan Reynolds. The interviewer asked Gadot if she'd like to see a crossover between Wonder Woman and Black Adam, to which she responds, "Let's give Black Adam the respect of Black Adam. Don't want to come and steal anybody's thunder. It's The Rock. I can't steal his thunder. Come on, but maybe in the future. I mean, who knows?" Gadot expertly leaves the door open to the possibility. That's pretty much it. I didn't even read this article. I was excited about this article, but it was pretty much shit. Oh, well, never mind. You can't win them all, can you? Zack Snyder's been doing a lot of talking on those streams. Zack Snyder still hopes Ben Affleck's Batman and Deathstroke movie will happen. So do I, Zack. So do I. The DC Extended Universe is a few days away from bringing in the next major movie of the franchise, with Wonder Woman 1984 releasing on HBO Max and in select theatres at the same time. There are still plenty of uncertainties surrounding the future, even with a DCEU release slate planned out for the next 2 years. This is becoming a trend for Warner Bros. And its tentpole superhero saga, with more than a few handfuls of projects discussed at length that haven't made their way to the big screen yet. Negative. Negative. Some of these past issues are being rectified with releases such as the Snyder Cut of Justice League, and there are still some rumours concerning a potential aircut of Suicide Squad that may see the light of day down the road. In terms of solo heroes, however, there is a notable absence of Batman stories in the DCEU. Well, apart from Batman vs Superman and the upcoming Justice League movie? You mean apart from them? Anyway, and by the way, I know it's not officially in the DCEU, but the DC Extended Universe, the Batman, coming soon, which has been a huge talking point among fans and outlets ever since it was scrapped due to Ben Affleck departing the role. Recently, the Snyder Cut director shared that he still has some hope for the movie and what it could feature. In a recent interview with John Doe Movie Reviews via comic book director Zack Snyder said he still wants to see the DCEU scrap solo Batman movie and that pits the Caped Crusader against Joe Manganiello's Deathstroke. This comes years after Ben Affleck departed the director's chair when Matt Reeves took over and retooled the whole movie. Right, this is Zack Snyder. Look, I would love for Ben to make that Deathstroke movie. That would be amazing. I don't know that's going... Sorry, I don't know how that... Bloody hell, they can't write, can they? I don't know. This is exactly what they write. I don't know that he's going to. All right. Or that they, Studio Warner Brothers, want him to. But I would love him to do it. That would be so cool. And Joe is amazing. Yeah, you're a bit biased there, Zach, but Joe is amazing, by the way. He is amazing. I love him. What this means, it's seeming more unlikely by the day that this Batman movie will ever come into existence. Look, we don't have to read the end of that bullshit. Look, these journalists are just negative. You know, why are you reporting on something if you're just going to be negative about it? Anyway, what have we learnt today with all that Zack Snyder's been saying? That we probably won't see a sequel of Zack Snyder's Justice League straight away. Listen to me. There's a lot of manoeuvring going around with DC Extended Universe directors, especially Patty Jenkins and Zack Snyder. They're manoeuvring their way around things. They're trying to put pressure on the studio. The pressure Zack's trying to exert is good and it's clever. He knows we don't want a fucking comic book ending of his Justice League universe instead of movies. He knows that. He knows we're going to react like I did on this very, very video, and that's why he's doing it. But the numbers and scores for this film are going to be off the fucking charts, because even if you hate the guy and hate his movies, you are going to be curious enough to subscribe to HBO Max and see this movie wherever it's available all around the world. So this is extremely excellent news. Final article to read for you today. Are you saying thankful? Have you had enough of me? Well, I'm sorry. Anyway, this is quite a good one. Who remembers the Gotham TV show? Do you like Gotham? I loved it. Look, Gotham was a very inconsistent TV show. For example, it gave us a fucking awesome Joker. The villains were also, but at times, like what you get with procedural dramas, they do a lot of fillers and they waste a lot of time. But ultimately, I liked the show. Gotham producers say Robert Pattinson's The Batman spin-off will explore nastiness of DC City. I can't wait to see Gotham PD, the Batman spin-off, going straight to streaming on HBO Max. Let's see what they've got to say about it. Taking place outside of the DCEU or even the universe of Joker, The Batman is set to bring a whole new story to the big screen on March the 4th, 2022. That date's definitely going to change. What a weird date to release a Batman film. No way. That's definitely a placeholder, isn't it? With Matt Reeves writing and directing, this new Cape Crusader journey will also spark its own contained cinematic universe. A Gotham Police Department focused show is set to be released on HBO Max following The Batman. The show, executive produced by Matt Reeves, is rumoured to be a prequel series that will showcase the corruption of Gotham City. With Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon, seems like an obvious fit to star in the show. However, there's already been a show based on Gotham City that's lead protagonist were Commissioner Gordon. In recent interview, comicbook.com, Gotham producers Danny Cannon and Bruno Heller shared their thoughts on the upcoming Gotham PD HBO Max series. Heller mentions the difference between their Gotham and the Gotham that will appear in the upcoming The Batman spin-off. It's going to be a truer to the nastiness of what Gotham should really be, I guess. God, even he's kind of criticising his own take then, isn't he? Cannon added how their shows is very much a network show, while the Gotham PD series will be run differently. This is very true. I think now that we've realised that streaming is the new god, I think Matt's going to have a much easier time selling the kind of show that he wanted to do, because he's got a movie with movie stars to back it up. Of course. And of course, Matt Reeves has a lot of power at Warner Media, a lot of power. And you've noticed he hasn't been public about any of their strategies for releases next year on HBO Max and theatres, because he got what he wanted. They respect the fuck out of him. He's part of the future of the DC Extended Universe. This strategy that they're going for. He's so important. He's so clever. He's so talented that they don't want to upset him. So they moved his movie to 2022 so it could have a theatrical release. Now, it's interesting that they didn't give a shit about other directors to do it for them. He probably was one of the few directors who knew what they were going to do. That's interesting. So he's going to keep his mouth shut because they're playing ball with him, which is great. Lots of time for Matt Reeves. Warner Media was already clearly putting a lot of their stock in HBO Max, with exclusive rights to Gotham PD and Zack Snyder's Justice League. Now, the media juggernaut is releasing all of their 2021 films onto the streaming service for no additional cost, including James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. The shift to streaming is leaving network television in an unknown place. Yeah, basically, right, network TV is dead. It's dead. Forget it. Unless there's such a massive internet cyber attack and it all goes to hell forever and we have to go back to the old systems, the network system, the network TV system is more dead than the movie theatre system. I've never really liked the American network TV, the way they kind of make you wait if your show's been renewed or not. The way you can get 25 episodes of something when you could just have 12 episodes and have a faster pace here and no fillers in the season. And those days have gone. What you get with streaming now, you get shorter seasons, but they really work as a platform and a piece of content and entertainment. So, you know, the network TV concept is gone. And as I say, I've never liked it. And I do prefer the streaming model because network TV isn't focused on the consumer and the fans, but streaming is. And that's what I like. So stick any questions you have for me or comments or reactions or emotions down in the comments below. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.